Isekai.
The Rebirth of the Malicious Empress of Military Lineage. Chapter 64, Returning to the residence. The doors slowly opened but no one went up to look. The guest rooms in Wolong Temple were rather empty, and were not as gorgeous as one's own house. Coupled that this was a specially selected room, it was even more spacious. The bed was in the middle of the room, and there was not even a screen cover blocking it. Thus, because of that, everyone was able to see how the room was. Shen Yu was the first one who screamed. Seeing the clothes scattered on the ground, they were ripped into pieces, and the blanket on the bed was thrown aside casually, and all the books on the table were swept onto the ground. The tea set was smashed into pieces as if it had experienced a catastrophe. But the most surprising thing was not this. The female on the bed, laid in disarray. She was almost not covered by the quilt, and just half laid on the side of the bed, and with her back facing out. There were red bite parts with some blood stains and bruises which shocked one's eyes and astonished one's heart. There was also a blood-stained whip under the bed that was split in two. Looking back at the traces on the female's body, one would know that the whip was used to cause those injuries. Heavens! Shen Yu clutched her mouth and stepped backward. Who is that? It is not eldest sister, right? She suddenly turned and looked at Ren Wanyan. Since Shen Miao had said that she and Shen King had switched rooms, so at this moment the person who was supposed to be in the room should be Shen King. But, from what everything in front had indicated, Shen King had met with a mishap. Even though Shen Yu was an unmarried female, she knew that this scene was traces of a female being defiled. Gui Momo also did not expect that there was someone in the room. When Shen Miao spoke just now, she thought that Shen Miao had already spoken to Ren Wanyan, and only wanted to go into the room to continue. As a result, when she opened the door and saw that there was a female, she was surprised. Could it be that there was another female that was also been played by Prince Shu last night? If that were so, then she had mucked up the job. But Shen Yu's words made her soul fly, and scattered away. Shen King? The female laying there was Shen King. When Yan Mai and Shui Bai saw Shen King like this, their hearts practically chilled. For such a thing to happen to their young lady, there would not be a living road left for them. Both of them looked at each other, and saw the despair in one another's eyes, before going down on their knee accordingly, and kowtow continuously to Ren Wanyan. Ren Wanyan stood staring blankly at the scene. Second, Shen, do not let one go up and see? In the silence, Shen Miao softly opened her mouth. Her tone was calm, as if she had not seen this scene of tragedy. Ren Wanyan tilted her head, and saw that young girl looking at her quietly. Her chest was thumping, as though it was in a perilous situation, but she continued to quickly walk into the room with a pale face before half-kneeling to the female at the bed. The female's hair was disheveled, and there were many fallen hairs on the floor, which were ripped out by someone. Ren Wanyan's hand reached out trembling, and turned the female over. A rumbling sound was heard, as if it was reflecting her mood. The curtain of rain that had stopped suddenly returned. In the heap of dark clouds, thunder was heard by everyone. Ren Wanyan closed her eyes painfully. The female in her arms was Shen King. The more one looked closer, the more shock one felt. Shen King's face was swollen. Apparently, the abuse was not light at all, and based on looking at her body, there was no clean area that was unharmed, and one of her hands was soft, and folded into a strange posture. It seemed broken. Prince Yu was extremely cruel. However, the one she hated the most was Shen Miao. All these should have fallen on Shen Miao, but now her king had to suffer. To be tortured to such a state, The next half of Shen Qing's life was finished. She could not wait to break Shen Miao's neck, drink Shen Miao's blood, and eat Shen Miao's meat. Ren Wanyun was after all the one who managed the Shen residence, thus even at such a time like this, she was able to control herself, and did not go crazy. Instead, she instructed Xianglan, who was beside her, with a trembling voice, "Go, and find a horse carriage to go down the mountain immediately." But Xianglan looked at her scared. "Furen, it is raining outside heavily, and traveling is not possible." The mountain was located deep in the valley, and the roads were already bumpy. With such rain, it would be extremely muddy, so that one would not be able to move forward. If one were to forcefully go down the mountain, one would fear being caught in an accident. It was not possible to go out in such weather. Then how about King Ren Wanyun finally was unable to suppress, and screamed out. With a paw, she slapped Xianglan, and ferociously said, "How about my King Outside the room, Shen Miao looked on quietly. She stood under eaves, and looked at the curtain of rain that covered the landscape, seemingly covering up all the dirty schemes. Originally the person that would be dishonored was her. But, now the person who let Shen Qing be dishonored was also her." Ren Wanyun personally heard her daughter being humiliated the entire night. Originally she could save her, but she watched on with folded arms the entire night. Would not Ren Wanyun feel a bone-piercing, heart-wrenching pain every time she recalled it? Would she feel the pain she felt when she heard of Wan Yu's death? Now, she wants to bring Shen Qing back to the city for treatment, but, having to remain here due to the rain, Ren Wanyun could not move forward, or retreat. Would the flush with success, Ren Wanyun feel any traces of despair? Go seek a physician. No matter what kind of method, go and get a physician. If you cannot find a physician, you will die here. Ren Wanyun shrieked at Xianglan. Xianglan had followed Ren Wanyun for so many years but had never been reprimanded by Ren Wanyun before. She felt both wronged and afraid, and agreed before running out quickly. As she ran out, she could not help but glance at Shen Miao. Everything was undoubtedly planned, and the one who was supposed to be resting here was Shen Miao. How would there be such a coincidence? Shen Qing was not easy to speak with, moreover, she had a grudge with Shen Miao, so she would not have agreed to exchange the room with her. This matter was odd. She looked at the dressed young slim female. She looked pleasing to the eyes, but one did not know why was there a murderous feeling oozing out of her body. "Kaiju, go and call a few people over, and close the doors," Ren Wanyun fumingly said with rage between gritted teeth. When the doors were closed, the inside and outside of the doors were like two different worlds. Shen Yu had yet to recover to her senses, as she turned to Shen Miao, and said unbelievably, "Fifth younger sister, is eldest sister insulted by some evildoer?" Shen Miao did not express an opinion. Prince Yu indeed really intended to just play with the other, and leave before dawn. He also understood that for the daughters in noble families, the most terrible thing was having their reputation destroyed by someone unknown. But, it seemed that Prince Yu was also not a fool, so he would eventually find clues to it. After all, this substitution tactic was so simple that it was shocking. She still held on with her words but did not know that when Shen Yu saw her look, Shen Yu's heart trembled, and she quivered. "Fifth younger sister, it should not be you who harmed eldest sister." It was undoubtedly Shen Qing who was resting in the southern pavilion last night, and Shen Miao was resting at the northern pavilion, but, in the end, both of them changed their locations, and this thing happened. If the rooms were not exchanged, then the person who was laying here would be Shen Miao. And with Shen Yu's understanding of Shen Qing, She would never give the room up to Shen Miao. Could it be that everything here was Shen Miao's doing? Shen Yu looked at Shen Miao like she was looking at an extremely scary thing. But, she only heard, and saw Shen Miao smiling lightly. Second older sister, rice can be eaten indiscriminately but, words cannot be said indiscriminately. How would I have such an ability to harm eldest sister? You have thought too highly of me. But, Shen Yu still had some suspicions in her heart, but, she did not know why she felt that there was something off about Shen Miao. And the matter last night would be associated with Shen Miao. If you have the heart to worry about these things, why not worry about yourself? Shen Miao said. Me? Shen Yu started to tense up. What about me? Do you think that your two maids beside you will be able to live, after seeing this private matter of eldest sister? What? It seems that second older sister did not know how sinister the world is. Shen Miao gently smiled. Those servants who knew the master's secrets, especially when the secret is a scandal, how long would you think they can live? Huang Ying and King Luan, who were beside Shen Yu, suddenly turned pale. They naturally knew that in higher-ranked big families, there was no shortage of filthy and shameful secrets. If any servant were to witness any, there was only a dead ending for the servant, as only the dead could keep secrets. Both of them had seen Shen King been insulted by someone, and naturally there was no way out. Shen Yu turned pale with fright. She had only just cared about her shock, and had even forgotten about this matter. It was not that she was a sentimental person, but, to train up a maid by one's side would require lots of energy. How would one be willing to sacrifice for nothing just because of this matter? Moreover, it was sacrificing the handiest too, not only the both of them. Shen Miao smiled gently, and her eyes swept across the scene, and landed on Gui Momo, and gave a long meaningful look. No one can escape Gui Momo, and that two maids immediately almost fainted. What was there to fear? What was so scary? When one attains power, even one's poultry and dogs would rise to heavens. But, if the master was not good, not one servant could escape. In the past life, when the Shen family's house was searched, and possessions were confiscated, those servants who relied on force to bully others were all helping others secretly. Following whichever master, they would have to accept whatever the outcome was. Otherwise, would not it be wasting too many talents on a petty job? If the move only harmed one person, she turned to leave, and Shen Yu hurriedly called her when she saw it. Where are you going? Is not the purpose of coming to Wolong Temple to pray? Shen Miao replied lightly, I too have a lot of perplexing matters, and naturally want to ask Buddha about it, and burn some incense, else it would be a wasted trip. The plain dress just left like that, and that indifferent back did not even pause, as if there was not a catastrophic event that just happened today. Everything was just as planned. Sleep the entire night, then go up to burn incense, and pray for safety and peace. It is not right. Shen Yu suddenly said, why are her two maids not here? Gui Momo was also in a daze. This morning when Shen Miao saw Shen Yu, she let Jing's and Gu Yu go to the kitchens to bring over the food. Until now, they had yet to appear, so they did not know about the matter of Shen King. Now to think about it, how would it be such a coincidence that Shen King's and Shen Yu's maids witnessed the scandal, and would not be able to escape from the consequences, but only Shen Miao's maids were not present? It was clear that she had deliberately sent them away. She had known earlier on that this would have happened. She had known that misfortune would befall on Shen King. Shen King's matter was arranged by her. When Shen Yu looked back, and walked along the eaves, Shen Miao's figure was no longer there. But, those clear yet hidden eyes seemed to appear in front of her. making her feel a chill she had never felt before. Nearing noon, the rain finally stopped. Xianglan traveled the entire mountain, but she could not find a physician. Usually, other than the occasional pilgrims, there was no one to ask. If the monks were sick, they would just pick up some herbs to boil and drink. Xianglan could not find the one she was looking for, and could only look for a monk to get some calming herbs and medication for external wounds for Shen King to use. The room was filled with the smell of herbs, and some other scent that even, if it was cleaned up, still lingered for quite some time. The female on the bed had her eyes closed as Renwan Yun sat and leaned against the window. Just a few short shishin, 1 shishin equals 2 hours, and it seemed that she had aged over 10 years. The maids in the room dare not even breath loudly, as they were afraid that the mistress's anger would lash out after such a big matter had occurred. When Renwan Yun was looking at the curtain in a daze, suddenly there were some movements on the bed. She quickly looked down and called, "King Shen King opened her eyes, and at first glanced saw Renwan Yun before her face turned into a frightening color, and her hands reached out to scratch Renwan Yun's face. "Let go of me. Go away. Help. King it is Mother. I am your mother. No need to be afraid, Mother is here." Renwan Yun felt as though her heart was cut out, but Shen King was not aware of it. She just continued struggling while staring fixedly at the ceiling and screaming frantically. Xianglan and Kaiju quickly went up to help hold her down, but Shen King was like she had gone crazy, completely without consciousness at all, and could not even recognize Renwan Yun. With her struggling, all the medication that was applied was all over the place, and the wounds were exposed to Renwan Yun. Renwan Yun's face was filled with pain, and she could not help but scream. Furin, Xianglan, and Kaiju were shocked and scared in their heart. Renwan Yun was all along with one who was decisive. No matter how big an event was, she was able to calmly deal with it, and the winds and waves that she had gone through all these years were not small neither. However, facing such a situation, she was forced to such a point. The two maids that had followed Renwan Yun for so many years could not help but be shocked. "Where is Shen Miao?" Renwan Yun aggressively spoke. "Fifth young lady is in the temple hall," Caillou carefully said. "Take good care of King If she encounters any more mishap, both of you will not live." Renwan Yun turned and walked out the door. In the temple hall, a huge towering gold Buddha statue stood overlooking benevolently at the believers. In front of the grass mat, Shen Miao was kneeling on the ground while holding the incense, but no one knew what she was thinking. From morning till now, she had knelt here for a few shishins. 1 shishin equals 2 hours. "Young lady, it is better to get up and take a rest," Jing soothed. "It is not worth it to harm the body by kneeling too much. Buddha must have seen your sincerity, and your request would be achievable." "The request would be achievable?" Shen Miao heard the words, and a bitter smile appeared on her lips. Her request was long unachievable. There were opportunities to make changes in this life for the mistakes that were made in her past life, but those who died in that wronged life would no longer return. Her Wan Yu, her Fu Ming, would they have the opportunity to return? One fear that in the fated world of mortals, there was nothing left. Moreover, she was not a believer. Shen Miao raised her head and looked at that gigantic golden Buddha statue. It was only an ice-cold statue, and could not save any beings. If the heavens had eyes, how could good people suffer such miserable fates? On the contrary, the bad people were free and enjoyed life. She knelt here and keep burning sticks and sticks of incense, not to worship Buddha, but for the people who died in her former life. those people who died because of her. After her rebirth, she did not have any opportunity and reason to pay respects or observe religious rites to these people, including her no longer existing son and daughter. Now that she was here, she could offer incense to Buddha and pay homage to the death. Shin Miao. An aggressive voice suddenly broke. Shin Miao smiled gently. The people in the world were often impatient. She rubbed her sore knees and stood up. When she turned her head, she looked at Ren Wan Yun with all smiles. Second Shen. Seeing Shen Miao's smile, Ren Wan Yun felt irritated and stood forward to raise her hand to slap Shen Miao's face. Jings and Guyu wanted to stop it, but it was too late. Before the expected crisp sound of a slap rang, Shen Miao grabbed onto Ren Wan Yun's arms forcefully, and that palm stopped just in front of her face. One does not know, why is Second Shen being so impulsive? Although you could discipline me on behalf of father and mother, that does not mean that one can be beaten. I am afraid that there is no such rule in ordinary families, she said. Ren Wan Yun had never expected that Shen Miao would stop her slap. The young female in front was slim, but the hand that she grabbed was very painful. She did not know when did that previously consenting and easy to coax niece grew a head higher. She could no longer use the same look at her, like when she was young, as if one was a little inattentive, or one would be plotted against by this little slut. She was not willing to let go of the matter. Shen Miao, stop acting silly. Regarding King Er's matter, were you the one that did it? As of now, Shen King's state of mind was not clear, and no one knew how the matter got to that point. But Ren Wan Yun was clear that if this matter was not related to Shen Miao, then she would not believe even if she was beaten. She did not know what method did Shen Miao used, but she would not take it lightly. If anyone touches Shen King or let Shen King become like this, eldest sister was harmed by someone, and I am also very sorry about it. But how can Second Shen be suspicious of me? Shen Miao gently smiled. If one did not change rooms with eldest sister, then the person who would have met with such misfortune would have been me. I would not be able to do such ruthless things. Then the person who would have met with such misfortune would have been me. It would still be alright if she had not said it, but once she said it, Ren Wan Yun felt her head jumping in pain. She clasped her hands tightly, and her expression was like that of an insidious snake. That was something you should have borne. It is you who let King suffer in your stead. When Jingzi and Guyu saw Ren Wan Yun as such, they were both shocked and angry. They were shocked that this second Furen, who usually put on a kind expression, would shed all pretenses of cordiality and be that brutal. They were angry because, if it was not for Shen Miao's alertness last night, it would be the three of them, mistress and servants, that would be suffering today. But Ren Wan Yun still blamed her. This was the case of the guilty party filing the suit first, and did not even have a sense of shame. Second Shen must not say so. There is still the presence of Buddha here. Shin Miao chuckled as her eyes glanced fluidly, as if there seemed to be some light. In this world, everything and every matter are conclusive. If the matter last night did not fall on me but eldest sister, maybe it was destined by fate. Second Shen first did not blame the evildoer, and did not blame destiny but blame me instead. What kind of reason is this? Ren Wan Yun was almost angered to death by Shen Miao. She sneered. You are sure eloquent. It was I who have underestimated you in the past. Oh, so it turns out that Second Shen used to see me like that. Shen Miao gave an uncaring smile. Ren Wan Yun looked at Shen Miao in front of her. This dress young female had a gentle deportment, and her delicate features were starting to change. and had started to gradually lose the original sentimentality. She did not know since when did that stupid and silly idiot Shen Miao had disappeared. There was no trace of the past Shen Miao in this person in front. The tactics that she played in the inner courtyard all these years had fallen through because of this young female's hands, and with such a painful price. And Shen Miao remained elegant, which reminded her of the tragic Shen King. Shen Miao, since you are clear and not confused, I would also tell you honestly. Ren Wanyan suddenly sarcastically smiled. Since all pretenses of cordiality were shed, there was no need to put up any loving mask. She said, you think this matter will end like this? Old Furin will not let you off. Your second shoe will also not let you off. That person will also not let you off. Your fate would be tens of thousands of times more tragic than King You will be ridden by thousands of people, and forever be a slut that cannot be seen in public. Furin, do guard one's tongue? Jings and Guyu said out loud together. This Ren Wanyan was the second Furin of Shen residence, and after all Shen Gui was someone in the official circles, would curse this viciously and vulgarly. Never mind, if it was a sworn enemy, Shen Miao was still young. How would it become if these foul words affected her ears? Ren Wanyan only then was aware of Guyu and Dings, and sneered. You even worked hard to protect these two maids. I want to see how long can you protect them. After finishing, she looked at Shen Miao slyly before brushing her sleeves, and left. After Ren Wanyan left, Jings and Guyu looked at Shen Miao with some panic. Guyu worriedly said, young lady, is it really good to shed all pretenses of cordiality? At the end, the pretenses must be shed. No matter how good she could maintain them on the surface, there will not be any soft-hearted or effortless actions from her. Why the need to maintain any pretenses? Shen Miao said, the truth about surviving in the inner palace was that if the enemy was in the light, let them be in the light. If they were in the dark, one would need to find ways to bring them to the light. She had no intention of playing and putting on a performance with Ren Wanyan. This game was filled with violent winds and rainstorms since the beginning, and Ren Wanyan had now lost all sense of sanity by her, thus would take her revenge like crazy. But once back in the residence, old Furin would be biased towards them. Jingzi whispered. Old Shen Furin was most biased, and favored most the second household. It was not only because Shen Gui was old Shen Furin's birth son, and also because Ren Wanyan gave birth to two sons for Shen Gui. Without mentioning Shen Yuanbo, the eldest son of the second household who held an office position once he became of age, and would also return to the capital. With two grandsons, how would old Shen Furin not be biased towards the second household? Moreover, Ren Wanyan's mouth could please old Shen Furin so much that she would be confused and disoriented. So upon their return, what happened would only be by Ren Wanyan's words. Who would believe Shen Miao's words? If there is bias, then let it be. Do not expect these people to call the shots for me. Shen Miao laughed. When her laughter landed in Guyu's eyes, her nose felt sour, and she suddenly said, if this is the case, then this servant would bring the matter out to blackmail. If anything bad happens to young lady, this servant will even use this life to fight to the end to inform the entire world of it. Correct? Jing's expression also became cold. Even though this kind of method of killing thousands of the enemy, and harming 10,000s of one's own is somewhat stupid, but, in the time to come, one would not let them live well. Shen Miao was somewhat stunned. She did not expect that the two maids by her side would be this bold. After being astonished for a moment, she laughed. Yes, in the beginning, to protect her, Gu Yu admitted to the charges of the theft of the Imperial Jade artifact, and was killed by the Crown Prince of Qin Country. Jings used her beauty, and became a concubine to help her draw support from high-ranking officials. Both of them were very loyal to her. But, unfortunately, she was unable to give them anything in her past life. After her rebirth, no matter what, she would want to protect these maids. It is enough to make some mistakes once. No need. I do not intend to spread out this news. Second Shen would also ensure that it would not be spread out. This matter needed to be covered up, but, eventually paper cannot cover up a fire. When eldest young lady gets married, naturally it would be found out. Gu Yu was somewhat puzzled. It can be concealed temporarily, but it cannot be concealed for a lifetime, unless Shen Qing did not get married in this life. Else once she gets married, the matter of her lost innocence would be discovered, and everyone would know. So they would find a way to hide it from everyone. As for what means would they be used to deal with me, they would just do nothing more than finding that person to help. That person? Jings questioned closely. Who is that person? Naturally it is that evildoer who abused eldest sister. Shin Miao chuckled. Do you think that last night was truly an accident? Jing Zi and Gu Yu shivered. Even though they faintly guessed it through some hints, but they were unwilling to believe it. They did not believe that someone would harm Shen Miao, as this was such a vicious method, blocking her entire road. They did not believe that Shen Miao would predict it without being a clairvoyant, and also did not believe that it was the Shen family's second household that did such a thing. Even though one knew that the Eastern people had bad intentions, but they did not expect that the situation was such. This kind of means was meant for enemies. Young lady. Was it Second Furin who ordered people to do it? Gu Yu had a difficult time asking. If it was only an accident, they would feel that it was fortunate that Shen Miao had escaped that night, but, if it was intentional, then the second household would deserve the consequences of it. But, why did young lady say that Second Furin would find that person for help? That person, was it not some random person? Jings felt somewhat faint. If Ren Wanyun found some random person to destroy Shen Miao's innocence, now with this accident, Ren Wanyun would have killed that person. Why would she still let that person help? Because that person is Prince Yu. Jing Zi and Gu Yu suck in a mouthful of cold air. The things that they had previously been unable to understand were now all cleared up. If that person was Prince Yu, then everything was clear. Prince Yu seemed to have some interest in Shen Miao from before, but what kind of person was Prince Yu? Normal females would have gone the other road when they faced him. If Prince Yu had made a transaction with Ren Wanyun privately, then it was very likely that Ren Wanyun would have helped Prince Yu on the matter with Shen Miao. But, now with a freak combination of factors between two of them, if Ren Wanyun informed Prince Yu of the matter, with Prince Yu's capricious temperament, he would not let Shen Miao off, as he was deceived under the skin of his eyes. Young lady, then, should a letter be written to Master? Gu Yu and Jing Zi were panicking. Prince Yu was impossible to confront. Not mentioning power or temperament, there was also the imperial family that was shielding him. It is no bother. Shen Miao's eyes brightened mysteriously. Shen King is just an anecdote. The one I want to deal with is, after all, Prince Yu. She turned her head towards the smoke that was rising in spirals above the temple hall. Wan Yu, your entire life was just too difficult, and it just disappeared so quickly like a flower. Having the namesake of a princess but was not even better off than wild grass. Mother could not even do anything for you. At least now, at least in this lifetime, Mother would help you to retrieve every single thing from those who had bullied you. In one of the buildings in Ding capital, A white-clad gentleman was playing with the porcelain cup in his hands, and asked curiously, "So to say that Shen family girl turned out to be enemies with Prince Yu?" To use her own Tangji hands to pull Prince Yu into the pit, such a method is indeed clever, but, being a female, it is truly too vicious. He shook his head, and put on a rather sympathetic look. "Prince Yu of the first rank?" When he faced the purple-clad youth, he had a smile on his face, and the pair of eyes on that handsome face was as sharp as a blade. He lazily said, "I see Prince Yu is not the one she wants to deal with." "Not Prince Yu? Then who?" The white-clad gentleman paused, and looked at the person opposite of him. "You think that? How about using Prince Yu as an entry point, and kill the entire imperial family of Ming-Chi?" The youth replied lightly. After autumn rain there would be a spell of coolness. However, after a night of autumn rain, there was no trace of the summer's heat. Even the sun in the sky seemed to be chilly. In the Shen residence, the eastern courtyard was still a scene of bustling. Old Shen Furen loves extravagance, and would often start preparations for her birthday's celebration months ahead, and the cost would naturally not be small. The money in the common fund was managed by Ren Wanyun, and even though she had also skimmed a lot, every year's celebration was still a show of extravagance, and also looked quite stylish. And those written invitations, that were sent to the Furens, and ladies in the various residents to inform them of the events, landed onto the third household's Furen, talented Chen Rikayu. Even though she had passed her middle age, Chen Rikayu still maintained the figure of a young lady. Perhaps it was the air of scholarly appearance that added a lot to her bearings that made her look better than the plump Ren Wanyun. It was because of her beautiful looks, gentle temperament, and coupled with her ability to compose and recite poetry, that she was able to enter the third master of the Shen residence. After marrying for so many years, Chen Rikayu had no sons, and only Shen Yu, one daughter. Other than the two Tongfang, that old Shen Furen stuffed into Shen Wen, there were no other concubines. The three sons of the Shen residents had different temperaments. Shenzin was upstanding, and steadfast, but, was overly straightforward, not careful, and was somewhat blindly loyal. Shen Gui excelled in fawning, and was able to achieve success one way or another in officialdom, but, coveted wealth, and lust for women. Other than having Ren Wanyun in the residence, he also had a few concubines. It was just that Ren Wanyun had powerful means, so even though there were many concubines, there was only a Shu daughter, and could not threaten the status of her daughter status. Third master, Shen Wen, in comparison was a real talent. If one was to speak about the three sons, Shenzin took the route of old General Shen, Shen Gui, and Shen Wan took the civil official's route. Then Shen Wan had far more real abilities than his second older brother. But, this did not mean that Shen Wan had no shortcomings. He did not lust for beauty, and had only Chen Rikayu, the main wife, but, he focused so much on power, and just wanted to climb up. Thus, he would even step on his superiors to attain that. At this moment, Chen Rikayu was carefully writing a card. The sun shone through the window, and lightly landed on her body, and made her facial features look like it was of a young female. Shen Wan was tidying his collar, and when he saw it, he could not help but smile as he walked to her side to hug her from the back. "Ah!" Chen Rikayu blamed. "What is master doing this for?" Now my words were not written well, and would need to waste a card. "Let me see." Shen Wan pretended to pick up that card to look, and commented, "The words are refined, and graceful, just like the mistress. How can it be not written well?" Chen Rikayu's entire face blushed. When Shen Wan saw it, he could not help but feel his mood swinging. Even after so many years, there was still an attractive pull from this wife of his, so much so that he would not even look at other females. This was where Chenrikyu was clever. There were so many daughters in the Chen family, but only she was able to firmly grasp her husband's heart. It was not because of other stuff but her forbearance. What kind of female Shen Wan loved, she would become that. Whatever kind temperaments could be installed, clothes can be changed to fit into his fancy. After a long course of time, men would be similar to pet cats and dogs, and would only have you in their eyes. Second Sao should return today. Chenrikyu snuggled in Shin Wan's arms. Do not know if you is accustomed to eating the food in the temple. The mountain roads are not easy to walk on. Not sure if the journey was bumpy. Shin Wan laughed despite himself. What worries are you vexing about? Second Sao would not let you go hungry or cold. Seeing Chenrikyu still having a worried look, he laughed. You always see you as a child. She is already that old, and after a few years, she would reach marriageable age. What would you do then? Regarding Yuer's marriage, I would naturally pick a perfect marriage for her. Family and character must be the best, and must not be like Fifth Lady. Her mouth slipped. That night old Shen Furen was talking to Ren Wanyun and Chenrikyu, and had mentioned on the sly to marry off Shen Miao to Prince Yu. And as Prince Yu's intention would then support Shen family's second and third household matters, so Chenrikyu had mentioned it to her husband. Shin Wan naturally agreed as he was obsessed with power and authority, but no matter how much he climbed, his authority and reputation could not be compared to Shenzin's. He had been jealous of the first household for so many years, and towards Shen Miao, he did not have a single thread of feeling. If Prince Yu obtained Shen Miao, and became happy, he would recommend him in the official circles, and that would be considered to be an unexpected joy for Shen Wan. As for how Shen Miao would be from now onwards, Shen Wan would not even care if she would be able to live well in the next half of her life. Do not know if Second Sao had completed the matter. Shin Wan's expression became serious. After Chenrikyu saw it, her entire heart slightly sank. She knew that her husband had never put power and authority in the first place, although Chenrikyu did not care for the first household. As a female, there was a sense of the fox grieving when the rabbit died. This time Ren Wanyun suddenly proposed to go to Wolong Temple to pray. People who knew would have known that there must be some ulterior motive to it. One is afraid that after going up the mountain this time, upon their return, one would only hear of Shen Miao's grievous news. Rest assured. She lightly spoke. Second Shen always do things appropriately, so this matter would be a surefire plan, if only it were so. Shin Wan nodded his head. Both of them were talking when they saw Chenrikyu's first-ranked maid, who suddenly ran in, and said with some panic on her face, Furen. Second Furen had brought the three young ladies back. Seeing the panicked expression, Chenrikyu was much more assured, as she knew that most likely the matter was successful. She smiled gently, and glanced at Shen Wan before putting on a look of being concerned, and asked, "Are the three young ladies all right? Are they tired?" "It is not good." King stammered. "Eldest young lady has gone insane." Chenrikyu's smile ended abruptly. Everything was like a dream. In the well-organized Shen residence, in just the short time of a day, it was turned all in a mess. Shen King had gone insane. Ren Wanyun of the second household would usually put up airs of being the mother of the entire household, even though she had a smiling face, but her thunderous methods were obvious to everyone. Regardless of how her character was, after so many years, there was not any trouble under her management. so her management abilities were recognized by everyone. However, this noble woman who always never failed to remain calm and smile, would for the first time show a tired and crazy expression on her face. If there were not the two maids by her side, others would think that it was an unknown crazy woman that ran inside. And that young lady that was in her arms was truly insane. She kept struggling and screaming so much that even old Shen Furen was alarmed, even though no one knew what the reason was. But the truth remained that the eldest young lady of the Shen family had gone crazy. However, the Shen residents treated the matter as taboo. Those maids who had seen Shen King crazy were all sold away. It was said as sold away, but who did not know that was just buried in the mass burial grounds. The two maids by Shen King's side, the two maids by Shen Yu's side, and even Gui Momo were all locked up. As such, the only person that was unscathed was Shen Miao. In Rongjingtang, old Shen Furen sat on the highest seat, and her face was stretched tightly. Her eyes were staring straight at Shen Miao, who was standing in the middle, and it was as if they were poisonous snakes that could eat humans up. Three perfectly right young ladies went. The one who was supposed to have a mishap was fine, but the one who was supposed to be fine ended up with the mishap. The person who should be suffering was standing here, but it was Shen King from the second household that suffered on her behalf. As long as old Shen Furen thought about the matter, the anger was like a big rock stuffed in her chest. Chen Rikayu and Shen Wan stood at the side, and Shen Yu could only stand by Chen Rikayu's side with a grievance. Both her maids, Huang Ying and King Luan, were locked up without any reason, and previously Shen Miao had said that it would be difficult to save them. On the other side, Ren Wanyun was kneeling in front of old Shen Furen. Shen Gui had some stuff in court, and had not yet returned to the residence, and the servant that went to invite him over had yet to return. Naturally, he did not know that his daughter was in trouble. Old Furen, you must call the shots for King Ren Wanyun cried as her nose kept running so much that Shen Wan was also somewhat surprised to see the second Sao, who was always putting on airs, to not even care about her appearance was indeed an eye-opener. However, there was some comfort in Chen Rikayu's heart. Ren Wanyun always relied on the power of being the one managing the entire household, and did not consider the third household. Now that her daughter had met with some mishap, she was also like a dog crawling on the floor. Fifth lady, I treat you like my own, and King also gave in to you for all matters. You both are sisters of the same bloodline, not to mention supporting each other, but how could you be so vicious? You know that King life is considered to be ruined by you. You are ruthless. Shen Yu had told Chen Rikayu and Shen Wan about Shen King being insulted by someone, and at the moment all the servants were expelled, as Chen Rikayu was also afraid that someone would hear it. Just as Shen Miao was about to speak, she suddenly heard an angry shout behind her. Evil girl! You harmed your sisters. You have a heart that is as poisonous as vipers and scorpions, and should be thrown into prison, and be given a punishment that even death would not be enough. Shen Miao smiled coldly, and turned around to face the male who was striding over. It was her second Shu, Shen King's father, Shen Gui.